Welcome to CBSE English Tutorial, a visual guide.
Okay, so have you ever just stared at a blank page trying to figure out how to write an invitation? Whether it's for a big formal wedding or just a casual backyard party, finding the perfect words can feel surprisingly high stakes. Well, today we are going to crack the code on the whole process for both invites and replies so you can nail the tone every single time. It's a real point of stress, isn't it? Do you say, "We'd love for you to come," or is it supposed to be, "Your presence is requested"? One feels maybe a little too casual, the other way too stiff. And that feeling of not being sure, that's exactly what we're going to fix right now. So here it is. Here's the secret. The key to all of this is understanding what I call the Great Divide. Think of it like this. On one side, you've got the formal world. It's official, ceremonial, and you always write in the third person. On the other side, you have the informal world. Personal, totally relaxed, and you're using words like I and you. Every single invitation you ever write or get is going to fall on one side of this line. So here's our game plan. First, we'll dive a little deeper into this great divide. Then, we're going to tackle formal invitations. And after that, we'll look at how to keep it casual. From there, we'll cover the art of the reply, and then we'll wrap it all up with a super handy cheat sheet you can use for pretty much any event. The big thing to get here is that your very first decision is always about the tone. Once you decide if your event is formal or informal, honestly, all the other choices about what words to use and how to format it just kind of fall right into place. Let's start on the formal side of that divide. We're talking about the big moments here: official functions, weddings, important ceremonies. For these kinds of invitations, the goal is really to show respect and communicate just how significant the occasion is. Okay, so even inside the formal world, it's not a one-size-fits-all deal. You've basically got two main paths. If you're inviting a single really important person, like a chief guest to an event, you're going to go with a formal letter. But if you're inviting a whole bunch of people, like for a wedding, the traditional card format is the way to go. Now, a formal letter might look a little intimidating, but it follows a really clear logical structure. You just move through these 6 steps right in this order. If you follow this recipe, you can be sure you've included everything you need in a super respectful way. And here's what that looks like in action. Check out the wording. St. Xavier's School is pleased to invite you. Notice what it doesn't say. It doesn't say we are pleased. By talking about the host in the third person, it creates this polite, official distance. It's a subtle trick, but it's what makes the event feel bigger than just a personal request. Now, for the card format, the rules are just as simple. The big things to lock in your brain are always use the third person, keep it short and sweet, under 50 words is the sweet spot, and of course, include those RSVP details so you know who's coming. Here we can see those rules playing out perfectly. The host, Mr. and Mrs. Nair, is named in the third person, and the language is super simple and direct. It's elegant, it's clear, and it absolutely nails that formal card format. All right, let's step across that great divide, shall we? We're heading into the world of informal invitations. This is for birthday parties, casual get-togethers, backyard barbecues. Here, the goal isn't stuffy ceremony. It's all about warmth and personal connection. The best part about keeping it casual is that it's just so much simpler. There's really only one format you need to worry about: a friendly letter. There are no strict word counts. The whole point is just to sound like you and make your friends or family feel really, truly welcome. And you can just feel the difference in tone right away, can't you? It opens with "Dear Ria" and uses phrases like "I am writing to invite you" and "have you with us." This is first person in action. It feels less like some grand announcement and more like a warm, direct conversation with a friend. Okay, so whether you sent the invite or just got one, we're not quite done. The reply is just as important. And the number one rule here is incredibly simple. You always match the style of the invitation. If the invite was formal,
your reply has to be formal. If it was informal, you reply informally. Easy.
Hey, before we look at some replies, let's just quickly decode this little abbreviation you see everywhere, RSVP. Comes from a French phrase, répondez s'il vous plaît, which literally just means please respond. It's the host's polite way of saying, hey, please let me know if you can make it. So let's see how this works in a formal reply. Just like the invitation, it stays in the third person. You wouldn't say, I'm happy to accept. Nope. Instead, you'd write something like, your name is happy to accept. Whether you're saying yes or no, you keep that polite, formal distance. And on the informal side, the reply just mirrors that original warmth. We're back to using the first person. I would be so happy to join you, or, oh man, unfortunately, I won't be able to make it. It's direct, it's personal, it's conversational, just like the invite was. Okay, we have definitely covered a lot of ground. So let's pull all of this together into one simple go-to cheat sheet that'll help you handle any invitation with total confidence. This table just lays it all out so clearly. You can see the formal path on one side with its official tone, third-person view, and mandatory formal reply, and on the other, the informal path with a relaxed tone, first-person view, and an informal reply. It's the perfect little guide to have handy whenever you're feeling stuck. And that really brings us to the single most important takeaway. Before you write even one word of an invitation or reply, just ask yourself one question. Is this situation formal or informal? Once you have that answer, every other rule we've talked about just locks right into place. So there you have it. You now have a super simple framework to write any invitation or reply with confidence. The only question left is, what amazing event are you going to plan next?
Today we are going to learn event correspondence, an important part of English writing skills. In this lesson, we will understand how to write formal invitations, informal invitations, and their replies. This presentation will give you a clear visual guide to format, tone, and structure so that you can write perfect invitations in examinations. The correspondence tree. Event correspondence mainly consists of two parts, invitations and replies. Invitations can be written in two formats: letter format, card format. Similarly, replies can also follow specific formats depending on how the invitation was sent. Understanding this structure helps us respond correctly and maintain proper etiquette. Rules of formal invitations. Formal invitations follow strict writing rules. First, the tone must be official and respectful. Second, they are always written in the simple present tense. Another important rule is that formal invitations use third-person language. That means we avoid words like I, me, or you. Finally, formal invitations must be brief and precise, usually not exceeding 50 words. Anatomy of a formal letter. Invitation. A formal invitation letter follows a clear structure. It begins with the sender's address and date. Then comes the receiver's address. Next is the subject line, which clearly states the purpose of the invitation. After the salutation, the body of the letter briefly explains the event, date, time, venue, and role of the guest. Finally, the letter ends with a formal sign-off and designation. Example of a formal letter invitation. Let us look at an example. In this letter, St. Xavier's School invites the principal of St. Thomas Public School to attend an inter-school debate competition as the chief guest. Notice how the invitation clearly mentions the event, the date and time, the venue. It ends politely with a request for confirmation of attendance. Anatomy of a formal invitation card. Formal invitation cards are commonly used for social events, such as weddings or celebrations. These cards usually include the host's name, the occasion, the date and time, the venue. At the bottom of the card, we often see RSVP, which means please respond. This tells guests to confirm whether they will attend the event. Example of a formal invitation card. Here we see a wedding reception invitation card. It clearly announces the hosts and the event. It also includes the date, time, venue, and contact details for RSVP. The language used is formal, short, and elegant, which is typical for invitation cards. Mechanics of formal replies. Whenever we reply to an invitation, the format must match the original invitation. If the invitation was sent as a card, the reply should also be written as a card. If the invitation was sent as a letter, the reply must be written in letter format. Just like formal invitations, replies should also use third-person language, simple present tense, and stay within 50 words. Formal reply cards. Formal reply cards can express either acceptance or refusal. When accepting, the guest politely thanks the host and confirms attendance. When refusing, the guest expresses regret and usually mentions a valid reason for not attending while still wishing the host success for the event. This keeps the tone polite and respectful. Formal reply letter example. Here we see an example of a formal reply letter. The writer thanks the host for the invitation, but explains that they cannot attend due to a prior commitment. Even though the invitation is declined, the letter remains courteous and respectful, ending with warm wishes for the event. Informal correspondence rules. Informal invitations are much more relaxed. They are written in the first person, so we freely use words like I, we, and you. The tone is friendly, warm, and conversational. Unlike formal invitations, informal invitations are written only in letter format, usually for friends and family. Writing an informal invitation. An informal invitation usually begins with the sender's address and date, followed by a friendly salutation. The body of the letter explains the occasion, date, time, and place. The language should sound personal and natural, as if you are talking to a friend. The letter ends with a friendly closing, such as, yours lovingly. Informal replies. Informal replies can also be acceptances or refusals. If accepting, the writer expresses happiness and confirms attendance. If declining, the writer politely explains the reason for not attending while still sending good wishes for the event. The tone remains friendly and personal. Practice activity. Now it is time to apply what you have learned. You will be given several situations where you must write formal and informal invitations and replies. Use the correct format, tone, and word limit to complete each task. Practice is the best way to master this skill. Formal correspondence challenges. Here are some formal writing challenges. You may need to write a formal invitation letter, a formal invitation card, a formal reply letter, or a formal reply card. Remember to keep the writing brief, polite, and within 50 words. Informal correspondence challenges. These exercises focus on informal invitations and replies. You might be asked to invite friends or relatives to birthday celebrations or family events, and then respond to those invitations. Keep the tone warm, friendly, and conversational. Final checklist. Before finishing any invitation or reply, always check these points. Ask yourself, is the format correct? Is the tone appropriate? Have you followed the correct tense and person? Have you respected the word limit? If you follow these rules carefully, writing invitations will become easy and scoring in exams.
Thank you for watching. See you again in a bit.